I'll go. Should I do this time?
Yeah.
Welcome back, guys. After a long, long time, we've grown old, we've grown weary. I don't think we can carry on for much longer, but we're back because a lot has happened in these past 2 weeks, a lot of important stuff. And we hope that you haven't lost us, unsubscribed at all. Please stay there. We're back and we'll be uploading regularly. Now, after this 2 week hiatus, to start us off, Soham, uh, there's a lot of news. We've missed out on the global support that the farmers' protests received from across the world, especially from one of the biggest pop stars, Rihanna, and from a lot of activists abroad, and also from the niece of Kamala Harris. So, more on that.
Yeah, it's gaining support, or especially in America, it's now become kind of, I guess, popular to support the farmers' protest, and obviously it got criticism from the right wing of India that, like, what are you doing supporting the farmers' protests from abroad? It's not like you're doing anything, and overall, it still remains a controversial topic despite it gaining support.
Yeah, there was also an ad that ran in the Super Bowl, I believe. That's a pretty big deal. You have to pay a lot for that to happen. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
uh, that happened a long time ago. We had a long break, so now moving on. As of today, a lot of things, new developments have taken place. There's in India, especially, there's been a toolkit case, uh, storming around the internet about Greta Thunberg's toolkit, which she uploaded on Twitter during the farmers' protest, during her showing support for them, and it basically what's being said by the right wing and the police is that it sympathized with Khalistan. Khalistan is an extremist organization, and that is what's being claimed at the moment. We don't know what's actually going down in the toolkit, but the toolkit uploaded on Twitter is still there. And basically, what it has is ways in which you can support the farmers' protests. Nothing more. It talks about petitions you can sign to help the farmers get what they want. It tells you about their cause and why they're doing this and why they're being oppressed and how they're being oppressed and why are these roadblocks existing and what is happening in India. It basically keeps you informed. But police and right-wing organizations allege that there's a bigger purpose to that. It's sympathizing with Khalistan, the extremist organization, and in that case, the person who edited that toolkit and helped Greta Thunberg upload it was a Indian uh, climate activist known as Disha Ravi, and she has been arrested after FIRs were filed against her.
Yes, they're basically saying the edited version. I don't, not the original version. Conspired with Khalistani members of India, and that's the reason for arresting the climate activists. And obviously, again, this is widely controversial for both sides, whether that be left and right. Where the right supported this because they don't want to. Obviously, a separatist movement is never good, and they believe that they're supporting a separatist movement. Meanwhile, the left is just saying that, she's just exercising her rights. She never actually supported the separatist movement. She just supported a protest about about regaining power to the minority.
Yeah, I also think that there has a fine line between the separatist movement and the farmers' protest. You see, the farmers' protest isn't actually asking for their own country. They basically just don't want, they want a minimum price to exist. They don't want privatization to happen on their farmlands. But then there's a different movement that wants a country of its own in the middle of India. So there's two sides to the same story, and it's up to you which one you want to believe, which one you find more compelling, but we're just here to inform you.
also a lot of people are in support of her because since so many people already know about the farmers' protest, it's leading a lot of people to also know about the activists, and that's also why a lot of people are supporting her. Even people like Greta Thunberg have tweeted about it and things like that. So she is very trending right now in the news.
Yeah, she's also been given 3-day judicial custody, so she is being held right now, and matter has moved to like the high court. So I mean, things are progressing quite quickly right now, but
And the thing about the separatist movement that, like, a lot of people are saying that these farmers support is that majority of the Khalistanis, as they say, are actually international. They're not located in India in itself. And like for example, there's a Gurdwara here in America. You see signs over there, annual Khalistani meeting in Canada, not in India, but in Canada.
Exactly.
So that's what a lot of people are missing, is that the support in India is not there because they realize that this separatist movement is not feasible at all, and they just want, the people in India just want some sense of rights, not a separate country, as Gulal said.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think what So mentioned is very important. The stronger powers at play are taking place abroad, places like Canada, USA. That's where the real movement is taking shape. Because in India, they don't have that power anymore as they did in the 80s. You know what happened in 1984? They were at their peak of power, but after that, it's not as big of a deal here. What's happening basically is what's happening is abroad in other countries. So I think much talk has happened of the farmers' protests and the allegations against the Khalistani groups in India. So moving on from that, we should talk about something good, something bright, some advancements made by humans. We have finally sent another rover to Mars. This rover is called Perseverance, and its mission is essentially to find life on Mars. A very interesting mission, a very new mission, and if it succeeds, I mean, we'll know if it succeeds. If it sends back photos with proof, it'll be just a gigantic leap for humanity, and we'll have to see what we do later with that. Will we end that life on the planet, or can we coexist? Can we let it be there? Can we let it sustain itself and not be a be a bear on its resources? Uh,
And it was really the good news, you can say, we needed with the hammerhead of the past this year and last year. And its goal is very noble, and we hope it can reach its goal, because finding life on another planet is like the age old question, are we alone? And
yes,
um finally getting a real answer to that question would be nice. It'll be very celebrated here, and you know it'll be a happy day that time.
yeah. Also, I mean, a lot of questions are taking place regarding that topic. Whether if life does exist, what should be done with it, and should there be a committee formed? Should a country be put in charge? Should we
Yeah.
at all interfere in their life? Then should we cancel our plans of colonizing Mars? I mean, there's a lot of opinions flowing around. We'd like to know yours as well. Any of you
I
guys?
think in terms of predictions, I would say that in the end, it's probably going to come down to whether we're going to end the life or not. And I have a feeling humans have a tendency to look for their benefit always, and that's what we've been doing. And that's also what's causing a lot of problems like climate change and things like that. So I think I have a feeling that the decision is going to come down to us ending life on Mars, if there is any, that too, and trying to colonize it basically.
And I think, what, let's say we find life on Mars, and all that will do is provide an excuse, because now space is also becoming privatized. It's not just governments, it's
Yes.
SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, and Elon Musk. He recently went on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he said that he wants to see humans colonize the galaxy, and he wants to see SpaceX 10 years from now sending a normal person like you and me on normal flights to maybe, oh, a 2 hour flight to Mars, 2 hour flight to Venus, like that. And I think if we find life, these private companies will be excited, they'll be boosted, they'll ramp up their efforts. And that'll instead be a stepping stone of humans colonizing Mars. Because now the government is not the only one in control, because obviously government has ethical questions, right? But a private company, what do they care? They just want to make profits, make discoveries.
Exactly. On the black market, you could possibly find at one day Mars rocks for sale, moon rocks for sale, and like millions and millions of dollars auctions taking place. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And I really hope if we do find life, it's much more advanced than us. and it can fend for itself, then maybe it's a challenge for us. Maybe it just decimates us. Who knows? We keep thinking of
Maybe
ourselves.
I think what's going to be more exciting to know about it is not whether there is life or not, whether the life there is what we have imagined aliens to be. I feel it's what aliens is still only our imagination. We have no proof yet, so it's going to be really interesting if there is any life, what it looks like.
They could be invisible sentinel beings for all we know, and we might never find them. So, very interesting things taking place universally. And moving on to our next topic, which is the snowstorms in Texas. So, more on that.
Yes, so there have been massive snowstorms in Texas, and the thing about all these snowstorms was different is that the United States gets snowstorms every year. It's just that Texas is a southern state that's famous for its heat. And it just shows how much the climate is changing, that a state like Texas that has like maybe 30 degrees Celsius Christmases can get a massive snowstorm. And what made this snowstorm different is, first, Texas has a different style of power grid. I'm sure in India and much of America, the power grid is controlled by the government, right? The federal government, they control the power grid, or at least the state government. But Texas, they have separated their power grids into multiple private companies to avoid climate change regulations. So they can avoid government regulations and kind of reduce the cost of their power grids, and this made their power grids less prepared for a winter storm. And this also prevented them from borrowing power from other states, which means if Texas runs out of power, they're on their own. And we are seeing the consequences of that.
Yeah, I think it's very well known across America and other places that rent and housing is very cheap there. And I think that's one of the reasons, because we see a lot of videos coming up where roofs are falling out because of the water and over floodings happening inside houses. And there's a lot of things that they aren't being able to do, and I think they weren't prepared for this.
Yeah, it's affecting rich and poor alike, doesn't really matter because water is a necessity for everyone. I mean, and that's when you sort of need a senator or someone of power to sort of look after the state, or at
Yeah,
least volunteer or be there, not be in
yeah.
Cancun and in beaches. That's what Ted Cruz is doing, and he blamed his daughters for it.
But at this point, I'm not shocked. This is just, I'm sure in India and America, this is just who politicians are. I give another example of the opposite party, the Democratic Party. Our governor Gavin Newsom in California, he used to own a winery before being the governor, and he made all wineries shut down and then declared his own winery an essential business. So this is just what politicians do. So when I heard that Ted Cruz was going to Cancun, I'm like, I wasn't shocked. I didn't know why people were shocked, because it's a politician being a politician.
Speaking of climate change, a small thing that recently happened was we had rain showers in Mumbai at this time of the year, which is actually very surprising because it started off with crazy winds and unexpectedly it started raining. It was drizzling first and then it was completely raining. And I think I was very shocked because I was outside that time.
Yeah, I think it was the craziest moment because I never in my entire life recall it raining in the month of Feb. It usually happens after summer. Sometimes it'll start early, but never in the month of Feb. Even if it's rained, has it rained this heavily? Like, just remember opening the window and there was like, it was pouring.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's our podcast. We had quite a lot to talk about because of the hiatus, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. And thank you for listening.
Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like. See you guys next week. Signing off.